Tabernacle following this session. Um, get a book. If you're not going, please don't take a book. These are for only those that are attending the session when we leave here. All right. So that I don't miss anything, I spent a lot of time this week preparing what to say to you all as we prepare the next juncture of ministry. As I said, I know there are a lot of flying and floating rumors, and some of it we'd had actually tried our best to keep it under wraps. But when you have a lot of people involved with the city and people that you work with, their pillow talk. It gets out everywhere. So let me just give the report, and then we will go from there. It will soon be, Greater Joy family, 6 years. A lot has happened since September of 2008. I actually recall so much of it as if it were yesterday. Some things seem like they just happened. I never forget God telling me to go to Rocky Mount. It was frightening at that time. I was afraid of failing the kingdom as well as failing my personal family. No one would help me. No one had doors open. No one would even allow me to have a meeting in their church. I recall the rumors flying then, just as they are now. What is he doing? Why is he doing it? And what is taking him in that direction? Thank God for Carolyn Slade. Never forget her. She was a ram in the bush that allowed me to take 14 faithful believers. To take 14 faithful believers, I believe God then. And as Ty Tribute says it, God did it before. He'll do it again. And so here we are in Rocky Mount. Then we had no money. Then we had no building. Then we had no people. Small beginnings, and I know many get tired of hearing about the small beginnings, but it's important for you that are new or that were not there in September of 2008 to understand from us how far God has brought us from. When 100 people showed up at church on the first Sunday, I thought it was a miracle. First Sunday we opened, to see that many people come into the sanctuary was shocking. We now have more than 100 people on the choir and the ushers together. God has been good. It was never in my mind that Greater Joy would grow so fast and be so strong. So here we are again to defeat the odds. Since our inception through God, we have exceeded numerically my wildest dreams. We know what it is like to be a small country-based church with less than 100 members. We know what it's like to be a medium-sized church. We've broke the 500-member barrier long ago and became a larger church. Then we broke the 1,000-member level. More than 1,700 people have crossed the altars at Greater Joy. It could be easily said that if we did nothing else, we would have done a great deal. Those of you that showed up at Greater Joy with a kingdom mindset, loved the music, loved the preaching, but most of all, you loved the progressive ministry that Greater Joy provides. We thought outside the box. It is because of this that we've gotten as far as we have. What I'm proposing today to the mind of every believer in here is that we cannot be accused of saying thus far and no further. Whatever the level, we have spent 5 years defeating the odds here in Rocky Mount, and we cannot even begin to think that we have gotten far enough. There is more for Greater Joy to do. So here it is. Our problem comes in the fact that we must change a tradition. Well, it's time to grow again, Greater Joy. What is most significant about Greater Joy is that our focus is not on our past, is not on our present, but rather the potential we possess as we move forward. In order to realize this potential, we must face our biggest obstacle, and today that is changing traditional thinking. These types of challenges are the obstacles that impede the progressive church. Traditional thinkers, churches and pastors plant themselves, traditional thinkers, churches and pastors plant themselves with the mindset of what people think we should look like. With what we are planning to do in this next juncture, it will not look like what people think it should look like. And we're going to be categorized as living outside the mainstream of church. When we consider Eastern North Carolina region, which we must consider the entire region, because Greater Joy's membership now represents Eastern North Carolina with active members from Nash, Edgecombe, Wilson, Halifax, Wake, Pitt, Johnston, and Franklin counties. We find some unsettling facts when we look at it. According to U.S. Census Bureau American Community Survey, Rocky Mount ranks among the worst in the United States in per capita income. The percentage of population earning less than half the poverty line. The percentage of food stamp recipients, we are in the bottom percentile. The percentage of people under age 65 receiving public health care, we are in the bottom group. We're in the bottom with the unemployment rate. And don't forget, we're in the top percentile of crime. I preached an 18-year-old's funeral on last Friday, and I have a 14-year-old funeral this coming Monday. Crime is on the up, and our progressiveness as a city is on the down. But as a church, we have done well. We must continue to work on these conditions. We can't ignore the conditions of our city. Neither can we ignore the conditions of our region. So Greater Joy must reach out. So when I look at the black church, predominantly black church, God told me, Bishop, you cannot any longer be afraid anymore to embrace the power and the significance that I've placed upon you to pastor the predominantly black church. As one of the major catalysts in the region, you must impact socially, not only in South Rocky Mount, not only on Anderson Street, but you must foster a social impact that will reach much further. This does not mean that we are the only ones to do it, but it does mean that we are one of the ones. Because we are the church, we must do everything in our power to reach not just here, but the kingdom far. So who is Greater Joy? I believe Greater Joy has been called to be one of the places that people turn to find refuge. We are a church that serves a clear focus on the message of salvation of Jesus Christ and a social gospel that would empower the immediate community and the surrounding regions. The question is, do we as a Greater Joy family believe in this mission? So the matter of a mission comes into play. Gospel of Matthew 13:57 and 58 tells us, so they were offended at him. But Jesus said to them, a prophet is not without honor except in his own country and in his own house. Now he did not do many mighty works at home. Why? Not because there was no work to be done, but because of their unbelief. So if I take this in the text at Greater Joy in Rocky Mount, in 2014, it is teaching us that if Jesus showed up at Greater Joy today to pastor, or any other church in this region, for the matter of fact, he would have to turn around and move on. Not because the work is impossible, but because of the people's unbelief. So we have to make sure that we're not programming ourselves to be excuse-oriented. Talking about a cultural change, it is possible if we have the right kind of faith. So we want to make sure that we're not entrenched in tradition or geographical location or the block where we live, but we got to make sure that we do what God has called us to do. God has petitioned me, and God has called you to reach the kingdom. So we must wonder and ask the question, what is the right place? Brings me to the elephant that's in the room. Most of you want and have heard the rumors have been flying, we're merging. The rumors have been flying that we're moving. The rumors have been flying that I'm leaving. So let me give it to you from the horse's mouth. Amen. Brings me to the elephant in the room, Bishop. How do we accomplish and reach the region? We must consider the fact that we are 5 years old. Can we do it? Can we be the church that God showed me in 2007? Since 2011, we have operated, here it is, under the assumption that the right place was going to be Boone Street. Last year, I led our church into a decision to delay our building process so that we would not build and not be able to do community and social ministry. I did this also because I was able to use personal influence to get plans drawn, to give us a preview of what the new facility would look like on Boone Street. In drawing up those plans cost $120,000. By the way, which did not come from greater joy. It came from my outside contacts. $120,000 was put together with a plan drawn up to build the ground on Boone Street, and it would cost approximately $2.8 million. Since that time, God has provided in the form of a different acquisition. Both the means and the place are put into our lap to give us an opportunity to move forward without spending $3 million. As a matter of fact, we will spend less than $500,000. Let me warn you at this juncture that the place is not Boone Street. If you're sitting in your seat this morning, I know that you got many questions. So let me attempt to address your questions. What will happen with Boone Street? We will keep our property on Boone Street. It serves our community well. It allows our kids, please turn your phone off. It allows to keep our kids off the street of playing ball. And it also allows us a place for festival activities and other community acts. Also, it is never a bad idea to acquire property. Wealth is best defined in terms of marketable assets, such as real estate, stocks, and bonds. And the real deal with all of this is the value of real estate can never be underestimated. Property rights are a major key to economic security, identity, and wealth creation. Yet, an estimated 60% of Americans live or operate business or physical property to which they have no formal rights. Our church is not that church. Our church has lost no money on these acts. Our church has actually acquired this property along with other acquisitions, and it has increased our wealth, which gives us a form of kingdom exchange, wealth exchange in the kingdom. So why not spend the money, Bishop, on Boone Street as opposed to another location? Aren't we already spending the money? Our initial proposal to build Boone Street was a 1,200-seat sanctuary at the cost of $3 million. We will now be able to go from 375 seating to approximately 700 seating, which will allow us to accomplish the task of one church, 2 locations, for less than $500,000. Yes, you heard me. 1 church, 2 locations. We will be planting another church in Roanoke Rapids with the name of Greater Joy North. We are currently seeing approximately 900 to 1,000 worshipers in 3 services on Sunday. With our new move, we will be able to see close to 1,400 in 2 services, allowing us to regionally grow in Rocky Mount and in Roanoke Rapids. So what about the debt? Our church has always had debt, but our acquisition came with enough equity that we can restructure our existing debt and leverage the equity of the purchase while also continuing to operate at the same level of ministry and continue the cash flow each month. Literally, this is a business decision home run. We have gone, our monthly debt will increase in our new mortgage somewhere around $1,500, and we will be acquiring more than $1.8 million worth of property. We are going to do all the current building We're going to do all that we can with our current building. So the question becomes, what is that? What is going to happen with the current building on Anderson Street? There are negotiations ongoing as we also try to put in place a Greater Joy Hispanic. It is our hope that the convention will find the right person. They are looking at this time that can fit the job, that will fit into the culture of Greater Joy, but from a Hispanic perspective. Hear me clearly. Anderson Street is not for sale. Our daycare is not for sale. We will continue to do food truck. We will continue to do pantry and other community ministries on Anderson Street. It is my desire to continue Greater Joy's wealth increase, which in equity we are increasing by $1.8 million with this acquisition. I did not say we were paying 1.8. I said we're increasing our net worth by 1.8. How long will it take us to get to our new facility? We will officially close on the property purchase sometime around March 1. It is my belief that it's going to take 6 months for our current owners to be in their new home and finish their process. There's also always a possibility of delays, so we're safely assuming we will occupy the property sometime in 2014. So here it is. Where is our new home? Our new home will be the current Word Tabernacle facility located 820 Nashville Road. To put this in perspective, our new property acquisition is 22,000 square feet. The executive ministry and I have toured the property and found the building well kept and all major components in working condition. The property puts us on the corner of two major streets in the area we have been called to minister to, which will still be South Rocky Mount. We will be increasing transportation for those members who are not easily accessible. The location makes Greater Joy more visible and opens the door for us to be mainstream in our community and for real personal and cultural change to South Rocky Mount. With this acquisition will come the Word Tabernacle Worship Center, the additional building called the Chapel, the Reach Center, the Parsonage, all contents of the building to include 3 Hammond organs, piano, all video and audio equipment, all computers, and not to mention 2 vans and the motor coach. I don't know about you, but I'm excited. God is doing a major work. I'm amazed that in 5 years, we are listed as the 2nd largest progressive church in Rocky Mount. God has done a major work. Scares me to death. My wife will tell you I'm not sleeping. I'm worried to death about what God is doing. I know he's done it before, but there's always that little itch in you saying, what if you mess it up? I messed up stuff before. I've made some mistakes before. But I have to be, and you guys can be honest, that usually whatever the Lord gives me and I head forward into it, I usually can turn the corner with it. So I solicit and ask that you all would trust me, that you would follow me, that you would allow me to do what I think God is saying do, and I think that it will be a blessing for all of us. If you would, Trina, roll the virtual tour so that we can see parts of what is going on in Word Tabernacle. Can y'all see it? Is it on the screen? see there is a full commercial kitchen in their fellowship hall. I'm not sure what that is. It's so dark. Media center, bookstore. What is that? Choir room, bookstore. All right. There are 3 floors. That building is very deceiving. There are 3 floors in that building. There is the floor that the worship center is on. There is a floor beneath, and then there is a upstairs floor. That's the new members area, I believe, or the conference room. It's the vestibule of the building, I think. Sanctuary. There is a balcony. That's the videos, audio board, Tyler and Yelladay. Balcony area. Brand new sound system, about $40,000 plus was put in last year. Is that the parsonage? Or is that the chapel? Reach Center, okay. That's the chapel area, which is actually the very first church that was there. They turned it into a chapel, and it's still operable with their young people. They do their youth church there. All right, that's it. Any questions? Any questions? Any comments? I'll take that for a few minutes, and then we'll have to break for our seminar. Questions, comments? Yes, sir. Me. I'm going to go to Roanoke Rapids. I'm going to do, instead of doing 3 services here, I'll do 2 services here and 1 in Roanoke Rapids. That's one of the reasons that this is critically important to have more space. Yes, ma'am. It is tough. Well, I'd like to call him Pastor. Uh, Brother Revis and I have had some extensive conversation about that. We know it's doable because they're doing it. The question is we got to make sure that we tighten down on what we have. We will need more security. We will need more parking lot and security folks in order to get that place turned around. I can't tell you, Ms. Mercer, what it looks like at this moment. I know that Revis and I are having conversations about it because it is a little more difficult. But we have this. We have a similar problem here, but we just the street parking is something that they do more of than we do here. But we use the street here too, but they do more of it there. But it is allowed where they are. There's a couple of parking lots that they own, and then there's the parking lot behind the church. So it's going to be a work. I can't answer it all, Ms. Mercer, but it's going to be something that we address, and we are addressing. Revis and I talked about it last week. So we'll work on trying to get that secured. It will only be, the daycare will not move from here. We will do, First Lady will utilize that space with Christian education, which we need. We are packed in on Tuesday nights, so that's what's going to happen there. That most of it. One of the great things about that children's church over there is it also comes with that digital. Uh, if a child is sick in the daycare, you don't have to come and find your parent. They got a buzzer and a number. If your child is wanted, a pop on the screen rather than interrupting the service to try to find some great pieces to that in that children's church over there. Probably. I don't know if we'll change or we'll just cut one of the three out and let me rephrase that. It will probably be that one of the three services will be in Roanoke Rapids. That piece I don't know is what it's going to be as of yet. But one of the three we will not have here. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Well, the reason for the building of the new facility was to increase space. We have increased space, but here is my logic on it. If anyone has a struggle with that, we're more than welcome to give them their money, because this is about kingdom building, not about a particular building. This is not about a particular building. It's about increase. We did say we were building the new building, but the building of the new building, John, did not come through because probably 75 people gave the capital campaign, which doesn't allow us the money to build a $3 million building. But in the midst of all of that, God still blessed, and we are able to do it in a different direction. But I'm okay. I'm okay with anyone that's having a heartache. I would hope they would not give it, and it didn't come by way of us building the building that we wanted to build. I have to just take this as a hand of God that He would put this facility in our hand. We don't lose anything. We increase in every area, and we increase not only just in seating, but our equity. We become financially, we are a stable environment with that kind of equity. But to answer your question, Brother Harrison, we will do whatever anyone has an issue with. We have no problem. The money is still not one penny of it. As a matter of fact, personally, with my outside influences, I think I've added double what was actually paid into it. Didn't come from the church, but it's there for us to use for capital campaign. Capital campaign to me is increasing our seating. And so that was the purpose for building, was because we needed more seats. Yes, ma'am. Minister Lyons. Good. No, ma'am. The Roanoke Rapids piece, there is probably there are probably 75 folk that I have been able to target that are from the Halifax, that end of Halifax, that are coming here every Sunday. So we're going to begin some correspondence and some meetings with them to plant that from the ground up as we did here. And it's not going to be something we throw up tomorrow. We're going to go through the process just as I did here. We had a core group. We met for months, phone conversations. We did some pre-launch stuff, and then we will be prepared to launch sometime around the same time we move. So it would just be a process. Now, the way we're going to gather those people are going to be those that are on that end that want to help with the work on that end. Remember, it is not a separate church. It is the same church. It's just two locations, and we think that there are a ton of people in the Roanoke Rapids area that are waiting for our ministry to come that way. As a matter of fact, I've heard it on more than one occasion. Yes, Ms. Tara. Well, I've had the question, Tara, and the concern, especially from the person that sleep with me every night. And having that conversation with her, and it is a taxing piece, but I really think that Roanoke Rapids is the spot, but I haven't closed the door if we found the right facility somewhere that was up in Halifax. But I think Roanoke Rapids is the spot for us to go and be a part. Um, but I hear your concern. Thank you to all that voice their concern about my well-being. Um, be 50 years old in a few months, and things don't move as quickly, so we are trying to tone it back a bit in some other areas. But the preaching part, if I can get the help that I need, which on this end I get good help and good support, if I can get that help in Roanoke Rapids, then I think we'll be fine. Anybody else? Yes, Diane. That's a rumor. That's a rumor. That rumor has been floating, uh, and for some time now, mainly because there is a level of merging. Let me just say that there is a level that Pastor Gillian and I share a great concern for South Rocky Mount, and I want you all to know that, and Pastor Gillian is to be commended and to be given huge accolades for his peace in this matter. They will be moving to their new location, but his plan and their plan is to continue to do as much work in South Rocky Mount as possible, which means that they will have to do it through us. And so that's the way that the piece of that's going to keep us hooked at the hip is our work together here. Um, there have been some conversations about from people about why we didn't merge and use the same facility and all of those things. And the reason is because I can't leave South Rocky Mount. He can. It's not his piece. I can't leave South Rocky Mount. This is where I was sent the very first time he told me to come to Rocky Mount. I was sent to that warehouse across the street. I can't go anywhere. So I know this is home. I'll be here till retirement. Yeah, that's just the way it is. I'm going to be right here. I'm just going to branch out and help over in the Roanoke Rapids area. Prayerfully, in another 10, 12 years, when I get ready to step down, I'll put people in both spots, put someone here, and we'll have a young person geared and ready to go in Roanoke Rapids. have one more question. Tisha? No, ma'am. As I put it in the report that I read earlier, it is our plan to have this place as Greater Joy Hispanic. If we cannot find the proper person to do Hispanic, we will probably allow someone to use the worship center. But our plan is to put a Hispanic church here. But if I don't find the right fit for Greater Joy Hispanic, then we'll just lease it to someone to use just the sanctuary space, because Elder Roberts and will still be here with the daycare, some piece of administration probably if she needs that, and then the food truck will still be here. We will still do our community activities on Boone Street, so we're not going to forsake this place at all. But the initial plan, Shook, is the Hispanic church. But if we can't find the right body, we will probably lease to somebody. Yeah. Well, it's not a situation that we close our mind to. But most of the guys that probably birthed out of me are not going to want to be 5 blocks from me. They're not going to want to be 5 blocks from me. It just wouldn't be a logical decision for them. But they could. We won't close our mind to it. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Last comment. Right. Thank you so much, Miss. Thank you. I need you all to be very positive about what's going on. We don't need any battles of any kind. Got a lot on the table. I'm not so confused that I don't know that the enemy is still among us. I'm not confused. But if God be for us, amen. So don't you get wrapped up in it on your job. They're among us on the job. They're among us in the city. This is going to be the talk of the town after today. The same meeting that I'm having is going on right now at Word Tabernacle. And so I just need you to know, I need you all to help me as much as you can. This is a positive move for both churches and for us to take over this region. Amen? Amen. Amen. Thank you. I know some have a problem with that, but let me just throw this in for free. When we had nowhere to go, they didn't care where we went. We had nowhere to go, and they said, where are we going? So let's take the same initiative again. Let's just be ready to move. Amen? Amen. Listen, I'm not even going to get a benediction. Let me just say, if there are other hands that did not get a book that's going to Word Tabernacle, raise your hand. These books are a gift from us to you, and we want to see you all at Word. So let's dismiss and let's get to Word. Let's do it as expeditiously as possible, and making sure that we get there. Let's get in and get on time. It only takes us about 5 minutes to get there, so let's get in and on time.